Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to HBH Podcast. Are you ready? Ready?
I think this might be the most random HBH podcast episode ever made. I don't think we'll have one any more random than this. We're talking about a movie that nobody asked us to talk about. Just kind of came out of nowhere. Before we get into this, you guys know what it's already about. You can tell from the title of the video, the thumbnail. But we're not going to be talking about that the entire time, so don't worry about that. I want to start this episode out with saying we were going to do a 28 years later episode. We were going to talk about Danny Boyle's 28 years later, and then talk about 28 years later, the Bone Temple, but that didn't work out. Horror Man 93 had some rashes he had to take care of, so we couldn't really do that episode. But it's all good. We're going to talk about it a little bit here. I'll start it out. 28 years later, I thought was a great movie. I thought Danny Boyle did a great job with it. I love the serious tone of it. I know that film was really divided with horror fans. Some people loved it, some people hated it. I ended up really enjoying it. I thought 28 Years Later was good. I think it was a good third film in the 28 trilogy. When I seen that movie in the theater, it was a great experience. Like, the infected in that movie looks terrifying. There's scenes where it's like night vision, and to me, just that looks terrifying. And the way that they shot the kills, like the arrows going through the infected, and then it kind of like freeze frames and blood comes out, and I thought it was shot really well. They shot the movie on like iPhones too, which I think is crazy. But I'm a big fan of 28 Years Later. At the point of me seeing 28 Years Later in the theater, I didn't realize that they were making a 28 Years Later trilogy. That was like news to me. I didn't know that then. And now we got 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, which I did get to go see that one in the theater. And let me just say, I'm a big fan of 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. I know a lot of people are going to have their problems with it. I could see a ton of fans not liking it, unfortunately. It's definitely not for everyone. It's not one of those horror films where you can be in the middle with it. You're either going to love that movie or you're going to hate it. There's no way around it. Like, if you thought the ending of 28 Years Later was weird, then you're probably not going to like The Bone Temple, because this movie pretty much follows that character at the end of 28 Years Later. His name is Jimmy, and we follow the cult of Jimmy in The Bone Temple. And let me just say, Jimmy is literally one of my favorite characters now. I'm a big fan of that character. If you're not sure on how you felt about the end of 28 Years Later, give The Bone Temple a watch anyways, because it might surprise you, because 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple does go in a very dark direction, which I love. And Nia DaCosta directed it. She also did the 2021 Candyman film, which I'm a fan of, and I think she did a great job with 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. I'm not really going to leave a review here. I'm not trying to get in depth about the film. I just wanted to come on here and talk about it a little bit, because again, me and Horror Man 93 was going to do an episode on it, but his rashes got in the way, which is fine. But definitely check it out. So, Horror Man, what did you think of 28 Years Later and The Bone Temple?
I like both movies. 28 Years Later, I like the story of it. I like the falling of the character Spike with his dad, and then later on in the movie with the mom. I just think it was a solid movie for the 28 Days Later franchise. 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, that was another solid sequel too. I like all of it, pretty much with the code of Jimmy. And I like the performance of the Doctor a lot in that movie. The great songs in it as well, like Duran Duran and Iron Maiden.
Yes.
Nia DaCosta did a good job as well.
Say DaCosta?
Nia DaCosta.
DaCosta?
What's her name?
Are you calling her Nosferatu? What's happening here? Her name's Nia DaCosta.
Nia DaCosta. She did a great job with the Candyman remake too. I'm actually looking forward to watching more movies that she's gonna make for horror, anyways. But yeah, both of those movies are great. Like, I really got no complaints with either one, but I can't really decide which one I like one over the other. To me, right now, they're really both equal.
For me, it's tough. It kind of goes back and forth. Like, I feel like I'm a bigger fan of Danny Boyle's 28 Years Later, But I'm actually battling with myself because I almost feel like I like the Bone Temple more. I like that direction that it went. That it's not as serious as 28 years later, but it's still very serious at the same time. It's definitely the black sheep of the franchise for sure. And I'm definitely excited to see what they do moving forward. And yes, the soundtrack to the Bone Temple is phenomenal. I think actually the Bone Temple has the best like heavy metal scene in a horror movie ever. I'm not going to say too much about it. If you've seen the movie, you know what we're talking about, and it does have to do with Iron Maiden. So if you're a fan of Iron Maiden, you should at least look up that scene at some point because it's phenomenal.
Yeah, I agree. That's the best scene in the movie for me too. Because I love Iron Maiden and that song that they used.
Oh, yes. All right. So we're going to be doing the most random episode that we've ever done. We're going to be talking about a sequel that Horror Man 93 had somewhat. I won't fully say that you told me to check this out, which you kind of did though. We're going to be
Yeah, I
talking about
do.
The Rage Carrie 2. Now, The Rage Carrie 2 is a movie that I seen for the first time in January 2026, just recently. Horror Man 93 is like, hey, yeah, you should watch it. So I did watch The Rage Carrie 2 on Tubi. And I'm not going to say how I felt yet. I'm going to let Horror Man go first because, Horror Man, he's going to have more to say about this movie than me.
Mm.
Horror Man, what are your thoughts on The Rage Carrie 2?
Well, I remember the first time I watched The Rage Carrie 2 was in like 2001 or 2002 on VHS. And I've always liked this movie. Like when I first time I watched it, I thought it was not a bad sequel to the original Carrie. But I would say it is an unnecessary sequel. They didn't need to make this movie, but they eventually I think it was from 1976 to 1999, so it was like 23 years that the second Carrie came out. And pretty much, I mean, I don't think it's a great movie at all. I think it's a decent movie, and I got some positives with it. Like,
Tell them your positives.
my positives is the lady that played Rachel in the movie, Emily Burgell. I think her performance wasn't bad at all. Um, I think she really embodied like in the movie. Pretty much, they say that she's like kind of related to Carrie. Well, her mom in the movie is related to her, so she kind of passed on the powers to Rachel. And when Rachel, pretty much she is a revenge story, just like the first movie. Like when Carrie gets her revenge against her bullies.
So yeah. Basically, I'm gonna go ahead and give them my thoughts on this movie. So The Rage Carrie 2
Love
came out
it.
in 1999, and I have to be honest with you guys. I think The Rage Carrie 2 is better than the original Carrie. I think The Rage Carrie 2 is probably a masterpiece in my opinion. And if you can't tell, I'm actually joking right now. I think The Rage Carrie 2 sucks. The movie is garbage. I was so mad after watching that movie. I was like, dude, what is this? How do you like this movie? He tries to throw that nostalgia card at me. That's why he says he likes it because of nostalgia, right?
Yeah, and nostalgia plays a big factor in it. I mean,
Dude,
I was in 2001. I was only a horror fan for a couple years, so me
wait,
watching a horror movie was exciting still to me. It doesn't matter
okay.
what it was.
Okay, yeah, but you're talking about 2001. Why are you still
Yeah.
of a fan of it in 2026?
Well, I've seen this movie at least 6 times probably, and I
6
never
times too
disliked it.
much.
I never disliked it. Like even in 2001, I didn't dislike it, and watching it recently, I didn't dislike it either.
Can, can
Um,
I can I just say something real quick? The Rage Carry 2 for me, if the movie was just called The Rage and was a spin-off to Carrie, I would be like, okay, that title's fine. But it's called The
yeah,
Rage Carrie 2, but
yeah,
basically has nothing to do with Carrie whatsoever, other than the possible Rachel's related to Carrie in some way. That's the
yeah.
only connection to Carrie. And another thing I want to say, first Carrie came out in 1976. Who was asking for a Carrie sequel? Who wanted this to happen?
I know it kind of happened out of nowhere. Like 23 years after you, they you wouldn't think a Carrie 2 would come out, but it did. Like it was out of nowhere.
It's probably the most unnecessary sequel made of all time. Like why you like who sat down or went to the drawing boards and was like, hey, why don't we do a Carrie 2? But get this, it's not going to be about Carrie. It's going to be about Rachel. Like what? What are we doing here? What? Like what's the point of that? Just leave it alone. And then of course we have those Carrie remakes, which I don't want to speak too much on those because I'm not a big fan of those either. I'm only a fan of the original Carrie. I love the original Carrie. I think it's a great film. But other
Yeah.
than that, I am not a fan of this franchise. And I don't like those remakes, but the Rage Carrie 2 makes me more angry than those remakes. It makes me rage.
So you would say Carrie 2 is the worst one out of the four.
Uh those remakes are bad, but I'm going to say yes because at least the
Mm.
remakes are still Carrie.
Yeah, I don't mind the 2002 one. And the 2013 one, I'm not too much big fan of that one. But 2002, I remember watching that one and thinking actually the 2002 film is more accurate to the book
Yeah.
than the actual 76 movie.
Which I just so if you guys haven't seen the Rage Carrie 2, for one, don't watch it. Don't waste your time on it, in my opinion. Um, basically, what I'll tell you what happens in the Rage Carrie 2. Um, so in the beginning of the film, somewhat in the beginning of the film, a character commits suicide. And
Yeah.
then a little later in the film, a dog gets hit by a truck, I think it was. We have a little
Mhm.
romance between a couple of characters. And then at the end, this, Rachel's tattoo somehow goes all over her, and then CDs are thrown at people, and a fire happens. That is the Rage Carry 2 for you guys.
Well, you're missing the whole subplot of them, the guys, the football team betting on girls, and that's why one of the girls
That's
committed
right. That's why
suicide.
she committed suicide. See, the movie was so bad that I
So
just don't remember a thing about it.
that gives Rachel her motivation at the end where she's at the party.
It's
And
basically a wannabe like reboot of Carrie that fails so bad.
so, like anything from Carrie 2.
I can't take anything away from Carrie 2. And watching, let me talk about this. Watching the movie on Tubi was literally like being in hell.
Oh,
Uh,
it's
the
that
commercials
movie.
are so long. So this movie's like an hour and 44 minutes, right, people?
Yeah.
And when you watch it on Tubi, there's a few times where I had to pause and everything. I probably sat there for a good 3 hours. And when I would check the timestamp, it's got to be close to being over. There's like a good 44 minutes left. And I've already been here for like 3 hours. And I'm like, dude, I don't know how much more of this movie I can take.
When watching it on Tubi, yeah, it turns an hour and 44 minutes into about 2.5 hours or three almost.
So
Um,
what really is your experience with this movie? Like you said you had the tape? Is that what it was?
my uncle let me borrow it. My uncle used to let me borrow some of his horror movies, and that was one of them. He let me borrow. But yeah, right now
Ours?
I have it on VHS.
Yeah. So
Never
my
ordered
question
it
to
on
you
DVD.
is, why don't you like just take it out back and burn it?
No, because I watch it. I don't watch it every year. I watch it maybe like once every few years or so. It ain't
Mm,
like I'm gonna watch it. It's a staple watch for me. It's not. Now the original I would watch every year because that's one of my
yeah.
favorite '70s horror movies. But
So,
what about the scene with Carrie 2 where that girl that wears glasses and her eyeballs when Carrie, well not Carrie but Rachel made her eyeballs kind of like explode? You didn't like that?
let me just say, it's pretty stupid. Um, there's definitely, I'm not gonna lie, like,
She
and
deserved
it's
that.
funny. It's funny because I'm one of these people who I like some bad horror films. Like some
Yeah.
films that I say that I like, people would consider them to be very bad. This
Mhm.
one, for me, I think it's got to go down as one of the worst horror films I've ever seen. I literally wanted my eyes to explode while watching Carrie 2.
Would you say it's the worst horror movie of 1999?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, for me, Candyman 3 is the worst one of
See,
99.
see, here we go. Here we go. This is where the debate. happens. We've had this debate. I tell him that I don't like the Rage Carry 2, and he likes to come at me with Candyman 3 Day of the Dead, which Candyman 3 is not great. Okay, I know it's not. I can sit here and say I know that Candyman 3 is not great. It has its problems, but I like Candyman 3. I don't know why. I can't tell you why. There's no real reason. I just don't mind Candyman 3. Now, I can give you 2 words on why I do like Candyman 3 and why Candyman 3 is better than the Rage Carry 2. You ready for these 2 words? Tony Todd. That's all I gotta say.
Tony Todd himself said it was not a good movie.
Yes, I get that, but Tony Todd as Candyman, I don't care what you do. You can have Tony Todd inside of a Snickers candy bar playing Candyman, and I will like it.
Wow. Yeah, I never was a fan of Candyman 3. I think that's easily for me the worst Candyman movie.
Yeah, no, and guess what? As a I guess fan of that movie, I agree with you. But you're seriously gonna sit here and tell me that the Rage Carry 2 is better than Candyman 3?
Well, just like you said, Candyman 3 isn't a great movie, and I don't think Rage Carry 2 is a great movie, but I still have fun watching it.
I
So
mean,
it's it's nostalgia, and it's like, I don't know, there's something about that movie I always like.
you know, it just blows my mind. Didn't you do a poll on your Instagram about this?
Yeah, I did.
Tell
I
them
said,
what that was.
do you like the Rage Carry 2? And I believe it was like 13 no's to 11 yes. So 13 people voted no, so it didn't win it. But it didn't win by much, only 2 votes.
I feel like I'm not in the minority here. I think
Hmm.
literally most people do not like the Rage Carry 2. Now, if you don't or do like the film, I don't care which one. You have your opinion. I mean, that if you like it, that's great. And I've said this on the podcast before. Like, I love when people like movies. I don't care if it's bad, if it's I don't care what it is. If somebody gets some sort of enjoyment out of it, that's great. Let us know in the comment section down below if you hate the Rage Carry 2 or if you like it, because I actually want to hear people's opinions, if anybody even plays this podcast. I mean, you got to remember, this is probably the most random horror podcast to hit YouTube. Well, okay, I guess that's not true because people they've covered the Rage Carry 2. But for my channel, this is the most random podcast we've probably ever done, and we're probably going to get a good solid 5 views out of this. But out of the 5 people who watch, please let us know what your thoughts are on the Rage Carry 2. What else can you say to defend the movie if you have anything else?
At least in Carrie 2, they brought back one of the characters from the original, though, Sue Snell, that Amy Irvin
Okay.
played.
That's fair. I mean, it was nice to see that character return, but at the same time, that
She was
she
really
didn't
just
save the
there.
movie.
Yeah, I agree. She was really just there to give like flashbacks. Like they show flashbacks to the original movie, and
Actually,
she was the one pretty much telling Rachel about Carrie when they took her out to the gymnasium that was burnt down from the movie, the original.
speaking of that, I take back what I said. There's one good thing that I do take away from the Rage Carry 2. It's the flashback scenes. You know, they're showing us what movie is better, what movie is superior, and I really like that about the Rage Carry 2. I will say that's what I took away from the Rage Carry 2.
Did you have any thoughts when Sue Snell got killed in Carrie 2?
I'm
You see that like thing through her forehead, like that it was flown into her head.
I think that is a really stupid kill.
Oh,
Um, and like, and she got killed by Rachel. Like, why wasn't this just called the Rage? Why wasn't this
Rachel.
just called Rachel's Rage? I mean,
Actually, the original title of it was called The Curse, so they could have went with that.
it, I don't know. It's just funny that it's literally a Carrie movie that has basically nothing to do with Carrie.
Well, only that
Like,
the
at least
brother.
Candyman 3 had something to do with Candyman. I mean,
Yeah, that's true. But the girl in Candyman 3, she wasn't a good lead to me.
She's beautiful. That's all you gotta care about. I mean, it's eye candy, bro. Like you get Tony Todd, you get Candyman, which is what you signed up for, and you get to look at a beautiful woman. I mean, it wins. It's definitely better than the Rage Carrie 2.
What about the ending for Carrie 2? What'd you think of that?
I thought it was stupid. It's just a like copy and paste situation from the first movie, but done way worse.
Well, Carrie, well, I keep calling her Carrie.
There's
Rachel.
CDs getting you know why you keep calling her Carrie? Because you truly want that movie to be a Carrie movie, and it's just not.
Well, it's a Carrie movie that she has the power, the telekinetic powers, just like she did Sissy Spacek in the original.
Yeah.
But yeah, the ending where supposedly Rachel comes back but it was all like a dream, but she shatters into like glass.
Ugh.
Well, she actually died because the way she died in the movie, she got something like, didn't she get like something crashed down on her and couldn't get it? The guy, her boyfriend, couldn't pick it up,
I
so she
love
pretty much died
I
like that.
I love the fact that you just like tried to ask me what happened at the end of this movie when this is the most non-memorable horror movie for me. The only thing that I literally remember from this movie is the flashbacks, the lady commits suicide, which actually didn't look bad. I will give it that. That the scene where she jumps off and she hits the car, okay, that's fine. The dog getting hit, some romance, her tattoo becoming
Like CGI.
whatever that is, and then CDs being thrown around. That's all I know from Carrie 2.
But the people that did her dirty, like in the movie, they was stalking her, like when she
Mhm.
was home alone, and one of
Yeah.
the guys did one of the worst ghost face impressions. Asked her
Surprise signal.
what her favorite scary movie was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just,
Carrie 2, I will watch it again though. I know I will watch it again because I still, even if you don't like it, other people don't like it, I like it.
well, and you know what? I think that's great, actually. Like I said, I love when people like movies, even if I think they're bad. Like, that's great that you get some sort of enjoyment out of it because I don't like disliking horror films. I hate when I watch new horror films and then I end up not enjoying it. That's like the
Yeah.
biggest bummer. But for some reason, I think another reason why this movie just really sucked for me is I kind of had high hopes for it because I didn't like the two Carrie remakes. And, I've heard about the Rage Carrie 2, and I was like, well, maybe this movie will be different enough for me to enjoy it. Like, maybe I thought that this movie would be, I don't know, like Carrie, but still like something to where it's different, kind of like a Friday the 13th Part 5 situation. It's not
Mhm.
Jason, it's Roy Burns. I thought maybe it'd be something like that to where I got some sort of enjoyment out of it, but that was the worst 3.5 hours of my life.
I mean, you said you had high hopes for it, but
I did.
you following up like one of the best '70s horror movies ever.
Yeah, I know, I
Yeah.
get that, but you could say the same about, like, Friday the 13th Part 5. You just followed that up with the final chapter, and I still like Friday the 13th Part 5. Like, I was hoping it'd be
Mhm.
one of those movies where I left and I'm like, "Okay, well, I had fun with it." No, I ended the movie with wanting to literally just jab my eyes out.
You would never watch it again.
No.
Well, it didn't do great in the theater either. It had
Good.
like a $21 million budget and only made 17 million, so it didn't even make its budget back. But I would say it has a cult following, probably
Yeah,
now.
it does, it does. I've seen people just like yourself defend the movie on like Instagram and Facebook and even YouTube. I've heard some people say some pretty decent things about it, which is what gave me high hopes. I was like, maybe it's fun. Cause like I really like there's a ton of horror movies out there that are just trash. So when I go into
Mhm.
stuff that I know is kind of different, like they try to do something different, which I can always respect that. I respect that they tried to do something different with Carrie too, whatever, that's cool. But I
Yeah.
just hate it when I can't leave a movie and at least have fun with it. Like this movie just drug for me. The movie was an hour 44, but it legitimately felt like 3.5 hours.
Yeah. It's just you never be a fan of this one.
Yeah, you
Never.
can't change my mind. Now I
Nope.
think I can get you to love Candyman 3.
That's not gonna happen either.
Candyman 3, I don't want to get into Candyman 3. Actually, let us know in the comments if you're still listening at this point, which you probably aren't, because like I said, 5 people's probably watching this. Let us know in the comment section down below if you're a bigger fan of Candyman 3 or The Rage Carrie 2. I'm just curious. I may put a poll up on my Instagram or something because I'm kind of curious on which one would win. I'm going to say Candyman 3.
Candyman 3 will win because of Tony Todd.
That's right.
That's the reason why.
So that's about all I have to say about this movie. Do you have anything else you want to mention about this piece of crap?
Not really. I think we had a good discussion over it.
I think we had a good discussion over that as well. So I do want to say once again, I know we talked about it a little bit in the beginning of the show. Sorry about not having the 28 Years Later episode, which I know we didn't announce it or anything like that, but we were planning on talking about those films. But I'm glad we got to get our thoughts out here in the beginning of the episode. And we didn't give any spoilers out, so no one can say, oh, you guys spoiled the movie.
Yeah, it was non-spoiler.
Spoiler?
Spoiler. Yeah.
What? Spoiler?
Spoiler.
There you go. As you guys can tell, this is why I chose Horror Man 93 for the podcast. He can't talk like I can't. So that's the reason I chose him for the podcast. I should just change it to the Men Who Can't Talk podcast is what I should change it to. But yeah, do all of that fun stuff that's in the comment section down below, or description down below. Follow me on Instagram, follow Horrorman93, and we will have another episode for you guys soon. I'm not sure when. But with that being said, we'll hear from you soon.